You know, global shipping is really trying to clean up its act, and the fuel that's leading the charge? It's liquefied natural gas. It promises a much greener future, for sure, but how do you even handle a fuel that's colder than an Antarctic winter, right in the middle of a super busy port? Let's dive into this high-stakes operation.
Look, the push to cut emissions is happening, and that's a good thing. But switching to LNG isn't like just switching from regular to premium at the gas pump. Not at all. We're talking about moving from a pretty stable liquid to a cryogenic substance that's basically always trying to boil back into a gas and expanding to hundreds of times its liquid volume when it does. That completely changes the safety game.
The difference here is just staggering. Traditional fuel, okay, it's a spill hazard, we get that. But LNG, it is on another level. It's stored at a mind-boggling minus 162 degrees Celsius. That is cold enough to make steel brittle in an instant. If any of it touches you, you get severe cryogenic burns. And a leak doesn't just make a puddle, it boils immediately, expanding 600 times into this invisible, flammable gas cloud that can literally push all the oxygen out of the air.
So the big question is, how do you manage these extreme risks in the world's busiest ports, where every single minute of delay costs a fortune? That right there, that is the core challenge for this entire industry.
Well, the answer often comes down to a practice called SIMOPS, which stands for simultaneous operations, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. While a massive vessel is taking on this cryogenic fuel, you've got cranes moving containers just a few meters away, maybe passengers are boarding and supplies are getting loaded on, all at the same time.
For a shipping line, a ship that isn't moving is a ship that's losing money. Simple as that. So CMOPs are essential to keep schedules tight and the whole operation profitable. But you can see the problem, right? You're adding all these moving parts, cranes, vehicles, people, right into the middle of an LNG transfer. It just multiplies the potential points of failure, the chain of safety gets longer, and every single link has to be perfect.
The only way you can possibly manage this kind of complexity is with some truly incredible technology. You have to create this web of safety around the entire process. So let's take a look at the amazing engineering that makes this possible.
So this is the big one. This is the fundamental engineering question. And the answer is, you have to create a transfer system that's not just secure during normal operation, but one that has multiple automatic fail-safes for when things go unexpectedly and, well, catastrophically wrong.
Your first line of defense is right at the connection point itself. These things called dry break couplings are an absolutely ingenious piece of tech. They're engineered so that you physically can't disconnect them while LNG is flowing. Internal valves automatically seal both the hose and the ship's intake before the coupling can even be separated. It's a simple, brilliant way to prevent spills during the normal routine.
But what if something way more dramatic happens? You know, say a mooring line snaps and the ship starts drifting away, pulling that hose with it? That's what the emergency release coupling, or ERC, is for. If it detects that dangerous amount of strain, it acts like a planned weak point. It separates cleanly and instantly seals both sides. It's basically a physical circuit breaker, designed to prevent a massive, uncontrolled disaster.
Now, backing up all that physical hardware is a digital failsafe, the emergency shutdown link. The best way to think of it is as a digital handshake. There's a physical cable that connects the electronic nervous systems of both vessels. If either ship's system detects a problem, like high pressure, a leak, even a fire alarm, it sends an instant stop signal to the other, and bam, all the transfer valves slam shut within seconds.
So, okay, the hardware is incredibly sophisticated. We've established that. But all that amazing technology is pretty much useless without meticulous planning. In this game, safety is engineered long before the ships even get close to each other.
Before any bunkering happens, teams do a detailed risk assessment where they systematically game out every single thing that could possibly go wrong. A hose rupturing, that's what the ERC is for. A sudden loss of power, the ESD Link has that covered. And what about the biggest risk of all? Human error. That's where rigid, standardized checklists come in. Every single risk has to have a pre-planned answer. Now, a direct result of that risk assessment is the creation of a physical safety zone. And this isn't just some arbitrary area roped off. No, it's scientifically calculated based on exactly how a potential LNG vapor cloud might spread. Inside this zone, access is super strict. No ignition sources are allowed. That means no unauthorized vehicles, and yep, even personal cell phones have to be switched completely off.
And this is absolutely key.
You have to make sure the two parties can actually work together. A pre-bunkering compatibility assessment confirms that everything, and I mean everything, matches up perfectly. We're talking about the physical hose couplings all the way to the software protocols for that digital ESD handshake. You just can't assume that two different systems will connect and talk to each other flawlessly. You have to prove it first.
All right, now we get to the moment of truth. All the planning, all the engineering, it all comes together in the hands of the crew who are actually performing the transfer.
This is so much more than a quick check. It's a formal, joint procedure using a standardized ship-shore safety checklist. Representatives from both vessels literally walk through every single item together. They test the ESD link, they confirm the weather is safe, they make sure everyone knows their exact role in an emergency. The transfer absolutely does not begin until both parties have signed off on everything.
And this sentiment right here is so crucial. You can have the most advanced, most expensive technology in the world, but if the procedures aren't followed to the letter, that entire system of safeguards can just fall apart. The human element is the final and honestly the most critical layer of safety.
And that rigorous procedure goes beyond just the transfer process itself. It gets right down to the quality of the fuel. See, LNG isn't all the same. Its composition can vary, and that affects its methane number, which is basically like an octane rating for gasoline. If you use fuel with the wrong methane number, you can seriously damage a ship's massive, multi-million-dollar engines. So verifying its quality is a non-negotiable safety check.
At the very end of a successful operation, the whole thing gets closed out with a legal document, the bunker delivery note. This is the official record. It certifies exactly how much fuel was delivered, its precise quality, and it includes a signed declaration that the entire process followed international law. It is the final proof that every single link in that long safety chain held firm.
So as more and more of the global fleet turns to LNG, the pressure to do these operations faster and in even more complex environments is only going to grow. The procedures and technologies we've just seen are incredible, no doubt, but they're really just a snapshot in time. The real question is, what comes next? How do we keep innovating to manage this delicate dance between commerce and safety on the high seas?